You are now tuned in to SportzAttic.
Welcome to another edition of SportzAttic.
We back.
Big time weekend coming up. We got the G-Men on Monday night on the road. Hey, Monday Night Football, man, that used to be, I don't feel like it has the same allure. They had that intro, the dude with the guitar back in the day.
Yeah.
There was like nothing better than Monday Night Football when you seen that coming on the screen, man. It's like everybody in the country was watching. But nonetheless, man, we got a big time game, division game. You know how those add up at the end of the season, how big those are. We'll start with the offense, man. We started with the defense last game, and we got some keys to the game, man, that'll be pivotal for us if we're gonna come out with a win. I'll start with you, Trey. How you feel about the offense and what we need to do to be serviceable on that side of the ball?
I think it's very simple what the offense need to do, and that thing is run the football. Give them a big dose of Zeke Elliott.
What do you mean by that?
Give them a big dose of Tony Pollard out of the backfield. Yeah. Wide runs up the middle, pitches out of the backfield, screens out of the backfield, throwing the ball to Tony Pollard on mismatches with linebackers going crossing routes, things like that. If we can stay consistent with the play calling, stay creative with the play calling, limit the plays that Cooper Rush has to make, the Cowboys will do just fine in offense in this game.
Yeah, I agree. Establishing a run, I think for any team is good unless you like name the Buffalo Bills and you can just throw it for 40 a game. But that's super important for us, obviously, with Cooper Rush. But even when Dak's in there, we need to be able to establish the run. Everything kind of flows off that. It's not like we got a star-studded receiving core, so we need to, have as much one-on-one in the secondary as possible if we're able to establish that run. So I'm looking forward to seeing if we're able to, successfully execute that. Like you said, man, I don't want it to be I hope we get a nice mix because it can't be on obvious rundowns. Like those are just kind of wasted plays. I don't want to run it just to say we ran it. So hopefully we can get a nice mix, man, and get some positive yardage again. We'll see the kind of dynamic. I thought they had a nice flow last game with Zeke and Tony, that kind of that balance. Again, like you said, kind of getting Tony on the edge, getting him into space. And Zeke as well. I don't want to see just a turn around, hand it to him, and he run into Zach Martin back.
Right, absolutely.
Type runs, you know what I mean? So whether that's pulling some guards or just putting him in position to succeed, that's Kellen's job. But just a battery ram type deal. I know that has its effects on the defense. At the end of a game, they're getting tired of tackling Zeke being a physical runner. But now that's going to be super, super important. That offensive line, controlling the line of scrimmage is going to be pivotal, which we can kind of segue into, man. This week, I saw some clips. Jason Peters is working back, and I think they had him. I don't know if it was the second or third team or even if it was the practice squad, but they were working him at guard, which kind of brings into question. I don't know if they were just tinkering with that or whatnot, but, of course, the rumblings are kind of, writing on the wall is, Tyler Smith has been doing a good job at left tackle.
Correct.
So do you think the Cowboys are thinking about keeping Tyler at left tackle and moving Jason Peters inside to guard? And if so, how do you feel about that? What would you like to see?
I don't know, man. That's a really good question. What I do know is before Tyron Smith got hurt, they had Tyler Smith at left guard, and they had Tyron Smith at left tackle.
Sure.
And I think the belief was that he was going to be able to play left guard, develop until Tyron either retired or moved on, or the Cowboys moved on from him. So I don't think that the Cowboys envisioned Tyler Smith starting at left tackle in week 3 of the NFL season.
Right.
Or even week 2 or week 1 for that matter. I think that the reason that we went out and signed Jason Peters is because of we had a need there. So with that being said, but then again, Tyler Smith is playing good. So I don't know. I think what I would do if I had to make the decision, I'd probably continue letting Tyler Smith develop at that position and go ahead and put Peters at left guard. I'm not sure how effective he'll be, but he has to be better than like McGovern, right? So,
and McGovern's hurt, so it's like Forniak now.
Yeah, even if it was McGovern wasn't hurt, I think that he'd be a better option. So, whichever way they play him, I think that should be the left side of our offensive line.
Yeah, so I don't know what experience Jason Peters has at left guard. So I guess my question is, I think, he played pretty well at left tackle for Chicago last year. So I guess the question is, we've seen Tyler Smith at left guard and being able to use his power in even tighter spaces, which kind of plays into his hands. I don't know who's better at left guard just because I've never seen Jason Peters at left guard.
Right.
I think those reps at left tackle, especially if you feel like Tyler Smith, what it looks like is going to be your left tackle of the future. I do understand how that can be enticing to get him those reps right now, and let him take his lumps and continue to get better at left tackle. But we're also talking about this season. I don't want to start talking about next season. We're talking about this season. So what combination is the best for your team right now?
Well, when you put it like that, it's probably Tyler Smith at guard and Peters at left tackle.
Right. And so if Peters is a better left tackle than he is guard, I would rather see him at left tackle and put Tyler Smith at guard. Then Tyler can go into the offseason full-time as left tackle with some reps under his belt.
I mean, that makes sense because Tyler Smith practiced at that position all training.
Right, all offseason. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So that'll be interesting to see. Again, I don't even know if Jason Peters, when they expect him to come back, if it's next week or the following week. But I'll be keeping an eye on where they're moving him around at practice. And when he finally kind of gets into the mold and they start, he's getting some reps next to Tyler Smith, what that's going to look like. So I'm definitely interested to take a look at that. We got another guy coming back in the fold. That's Michael Gallup.
Yes.
Obviously, we need some much needed help in that receiver room. I'm kind of sick. I was watching the first half of that Browns Steelers game, and Amari was doing some good things, and that sucks to see, man.
He played well last week too.
Yeah, man, he looks good, and I've seen even when the stats aren't there. I think I saw a breakdown from Baldy, like he getting wide open, and Jacoby was just missing them. They're not in sync, don't have that chemistry. But like in terms of receiver, man, we just let a good receiver just walk out the door for like whatever reasons. Man, we've talked about this.
And we have our third receiving option. Coming off an ACL injury,
right?
And that's what we're supposed to be excited about. But the good thing is, we're gonna run the football, and we're gonna take the ball out of Cooper Rush's hands.
Yes, we are.
And when we do that, it doesn't really matter the lack of talent that we have on the receiving end. We can just run the football, control the clock, let Cooper Rush make a few plays throughout the game, get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. We're gonna be just fine. Just fine on offense.
I mean that's cool, but seeing him making plays, getting open, sucks to watch because what we're talking about is a lot of optimism. It's a lot of optimism.
Yeah,
it is. It's not like we have a dominant O-line where we're gonna, control the line and scrimmage. We're hoping that's the best case scenario. We're really hoping. We're trying to draw.
But we may have a dominant offensive line. We may have that when we move Smith to tackle, the guard, and we come in with Peters. That's the left side. You have Biotish at the center. Then you have right guard Zach Martin, and then we have Steele on the outside. If Steele can cut down on those penalties, he's a very solid right tackle, and that would give us a very formidable five.
I think we could be good at best. There's nothing dominant about Biotish or Terrence Steele. They could, Terrence Steele is decent to good, and Biotish is just Biotish.
Right, but when you get three of them, when you get three of the five, that's what we had. That's what we had in 2014 when everybody said we had the big dominant offensive line. Remember Doug Free and Ronald Leary was on those lines.
But Leary was nice. Leary was good that year.
Leary was nice, but when people talked about that offensive line, it was more about Frederick, Martin, and Tyron.
But I think we're just hoping that, and Tyron was dominant then. I think we're just hoping to see a decent Jason Peters, or decent to good. That would be a win.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, I just think it would be we're looking for a good O-line, but we talking about a lot of optimism.
But really, all they need to do is working in unison and open these holes up for these running backs, which I think offensive linemen rather push forward and block down on runs than backpedal and pass protect. So I think that if we come out and we can get them, 30, 40 carries, 30 to 35 carries on the running, I think offensive line will be just fine. If we're talking about the preview with the Cowboys and the Giants for this week.
I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I think every team's goal, offensive lines to work in unison and open holes. We're gonna see if we're gonna actually do it.
I mean, what I mean? So we did it. We did it the last 2 games. I mean, all we've seen this year is our offensive line do well in run game.
Yeah, but we've seen our play calling, go away from it. Like we talking about a lot of things.
You're right.
That's a whole different. That's a whole different.
That's a whole different. Yeah. That's a whole different subject from offensive linemen and doing their job. And if they can do well this week against the Giants, I mean, Kellen Moore is Kellen Moore, and that's a whole different. Is he going to come out here and call the same game he called a game in week 2, or is he going to call a game similar to what he did in week 1? That's the elephant in the room. That's what we don't know.
We're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. I'm interested to see. I'm sure he'll be on the pitch count. Michael Gallup returning from injury, but see if that impedes or adds to the connection. Cooper Rush is Noah Brown has had a good start to the year. See if that kind of impedes his production. If it makes things easier for CD having another weapon on the outside, I'm interested to see that dynamic or that mixture.
I think it actually will help out CD because I think that it'll do, and I don't think that it's going to help out from Michael Gallup's presence as far as him as a player per se. Sure. But I think Michael Gallup is a fine receiver. But
yeah,
I don't think that Michael Gallup's presence is going to shift how the defense plays defense against us. I think they're still going to focus on CD. But what Michael Gallup does do is it allows us to have another wide receiver we can put out on the perimeter, and then you can go ahead and keep Noah Brown in the same position, which is on the perimeter as he's been doing. That allows you to take CD Lamb and put him more in the slot, which is what he's done in the past. And if you can put CD Lamb in the slot, that makes it more difficult for them to double team him, and he can get open and make more plays. So I think that the presence of Michael Gallup, as far as his effect, the domino effect that it's going to have on the offense, is going to be positive, even if his production isn't what causes the domino to fall.
Yeah, and I would love to see us, kind of move CD around, kind of get him in different spots, different matchups. Would love to see that, and definitely rooting for. Hey man, I got Zeke in fantasy too. Just even as a fan, obviously I want to see him do well, but shoot, I need one of them 80 some odd yards at least in a touchdown. That'd be great. You
don't seem confident in Zeke. I'm actually trying to trade for Zeke right now in my fantasy.
I got him, so we could talk. We can talk.
No, not in your league.
Why?
I'm sick.
But you're confident it's another piece. You know what I'm saying?
Sick. I don't want to.
I'll be fair. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to add, grab one of your first or second round running backs. No, we could be fair.
I already told you playing for second place anyway. You need to be worried. Yeah. Don't worry about my team. You need to go get some. Yeah, I'm not who
he was right. I told you when he was there, I was like, man, I wish somebody else was here. I ain't gonna stop.
Dang, man. I need to change my jersey and put my Zeke jersey on.
Yeah, you say that
I'm
every
Zeke's
week.
Biggest fan. I'm telling you, I'm Zeke's biggest fan. Eat Zeke. Okay. Eat Zeke. I know.
Hey, I hope you eat too. I'm not an enemy, but eat. I hope
he go eat Zeke.
Get some seconds. So in terms of running backs, as we kind of transition to the other side of the ball with a defensive matchup against the Giants.
Yes.
As you know, the Giants, everything starts and stops with Saquon Barkley.
Right.
So you and I always talk about, the utilization of Micah Parsons. So I am going to be interested to see what Dan Quinn, how he goes about this. Because of course we would like to make the Giants one-dimensional, and that's Daniel Jones throwing the ball.
Right.
But to do that, you got to stifle Saquon Barkley running the ball.
Right.
And I think a lot of teams have kind of fallen in love with, at least over the first 2 games, you got 2 pretty pass-heavy teams. I know Leonard kind of started getting a nice dosage in the second half. But no one's really tried to stay consistent on the ground against us yet. So I'd like to see if the Giants kind of stick with the run. He's going to get his touches. Just a matter of how, because they do throw him the ball as well. So how do you feel is the best way to utilize Micah in this game to stifle Saquon?
Well, I think you really just said, you just told our viewers and our listeners exactly the formula. Micah should be, like I told you last episode, Micah should be utilized as a hybrid player because of the talent that he has. And in a game like this, with the type of running back as elusive as Saquon is, I think that it'd be better in the first half for you to rush Mike on third down, obvious third downs. But for the most part, allow him to play linebacker and help stop the run. I think DeMarcus Lawrence will do a good job at that too. So if you let Michael go ahead and chase down Saquon in the first half, and if our offense is running the ball, controlling the clock, and we go ahead and take a lead, that's how we make the Giants one-dimensional. Once we make them one-dimensional and they're having to pass the ball in order to catch up or stay in the game, then you let Michael turn Michael loose, let him rush the passer and go after Daniel Jones. I mean, their offensive line gave up 5 sacks last week and 3 sacks the week before. So they're averaging 4 sacks a game. And I believe that if we can go ahead and, like you say, tame them early, bottle up Saquon early, rush the passer late, that's the recipe for success for the Cowboys.
Interesting. I'm definitely I'll be glued in to see how Dan Quinn, he does a great job of utilizing Micah, putting him in different positions to win, whether that he's even, kind of blitzing coming downhill over the guards or over the center, or, we obviously seen him standing up, rushing the passer, which he's like off the charts right now with his win rate. When I see that chart, his name is like, there's a lot of space between his name and the jumble of like names below him.
Right. I saw that recently too.
which is crazy. So, I don't doubt that he's not going to give him a lot of opportunities to get after Daniel Jones in the passing game, but I would like to see how they utilize him to try to slow down the run. And obviously this is to slow down Saquon is a group effort, you know what I mean, obviously, but I think he definitely wants to key in on him with his ace, on his side. So I can't wait to see that. Their receivers, I guess you want to say their biggest threat. They got a kind of a committee of solid players. I know Kadarius Toney kind of got off on this last. Not kind of, he got off on this last year.
He definitely got off. Then he punched somebody.
Yeah, he did. And I don't know if he's in the doghouse. He can't seem to stay on top of the depth chart. You look at that guy and the talent looks like it's there. Who knows what's going on behind the scene with him? I know I like to think their most consistent receiver is Sterling Shepard. I hear a lot about Wandale Moore. I haven't seen much. I think he's hurt. So, Sterling Shepard, we've seen him for a few years now. Kind of know what he's about. Not saying he can't be, productive or something like that, but they don't really scare you, through the air. It's Saquon, starts with 26 in that backfield. And I definitely want to get after Daniel Jones. I think he could be hurried into mistakes, bringing his eyes down, once the pressure gets to him. And that's when the trouble begins. So I love to see what Dan Quinn has dialed up for kind of, controlling and taming Saquon. You can bottle that dude up for 2.5 quarters and it's just one run or one screen and boom. You know what I mean? He's going for 68 for a touchdown.
Right.
And that's all it takes. That's how explosive he is. So with all that said, we got the matchup Monday night.
How about them guys?
On the road.
Birdman hands.
What's your prediction? Who you got?
All right, man. I kind of previewed it the other day. I love my Cowboys. But the Giants, Daniel Jones, the way the Cowboys were pass rushing last week, I noticed how the pocket opened up. And Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback to step up and run. And I think those kind of runs will definitely hurt us as a defense, as a team, period. I think it's going to be difficult for us to stop Saquon. I think Sterling Shepard and even Kadarius Toney, if they get creative and get the ball to their playmakers, it'll be difficult if we can't get a pass rush on them. Offensively, we We got Cooper Rush as our starting quarterback. We're playing against a unit that I think they generated 2 sacks last week.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they don't get off. But I got the Cowboys. I got the Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
I said all that to say Cowboys by 10.
By 10.
Cowboys by 10.
How about them Cowboys?
On national TV, everybody gonna be talking about Cooper Rush on Tuesday, and I'm gonna have to tell you, hey Ryan, I know you be hating on Dak. Slow down, bro. We all right. Dak gonna be able to come back, but I'm telling you, we're gonna beat the Giants by 10. It's gonna be good weather. It's gonna be no rain. Nothing's gonna deter the Cowboys from being able to run the football, being able to get after Daniel Jones in the pass rush. Saquon Barkley does worry me, but we have Michael Parsons on our end. So I believe they're going to cancel out. I believe that the pass rush that we're going to be able to get on Daniel Jones is going to force him into some turnovers. And I believe that the Cowboys will actually get a defensive score. So give me 2 touchdowns from Cooper Rush this week and a field goal. Maybe, give me two touchdowns and a field goal from Cooper Rush. And give me a defensive touchdown. Give me Cowboys 24, Giants 17. No. 24.
14.
24, Giants 14.
So I haven't really thought too long and hard about the score. But honestly, I do like the way this lays out for the Cowboys. And it's really more indicative of kind of what I think of the Giants. That doesn't mean they're a terrible team. Like you said, I do think Saquon's one of the best players in the league, so it will obviously be imperative for us to, keep him in check if we want to win this game. But there was, receiving core, quarterback, Daniel Jones, they don't really scare me. I know they could say the same thing about us, but I think our defense, we can lean on them to keep us even in the game, even if the offense is stifling. And Cooper Rush, couple big plays, man, couple big time third down conversions. That's what the game boils down to. Who can make the big third down conversions? Hopefully we can, keep the running game flowing. And CD Lamb, I love to see him make some plays, man, and kind of break loose a little bit. But I actually do feel good about this game. I think our defense will put us in a lot of really good positions. So if you want to say a score, I think we're still in that mode of like 20-14, 20-17. I still don't think we score a ton of points. I think we, if we're running the ball well, we're just keeping, the time of possession type deal. Doesn't mean we're scoring a ton of points, but I really believe in our defense. And I think we get it done, man. I think we get a big time win. And anytime we get a win with a backup quarterback on the road in the division, hey man, you can only give, your hats off and we'll take it. So absolutely. I got the Cowboys winning. Let's say 20-17.
20-17. I got the Cowboys 24-14. We both got the Cowboys. Let's go Cowboys. Okay, boys. So now for my favorite part of the show is the parlay picks of the week. Now, I did a lot of research this week. I wanted to make my debut picks perfect for our listeners and our viewers. I'm very curious to see what your picks are this week.
Parlay play of the day.
Parlay play of the day with Ryan and Trey.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. I like the ring to it.
I like that too. So let's just go ahead and get into it, Ryan.
Let's see who I got.
So for the listeners, what we're going to do this week is we're going to pick in this and every week. We're going to pick 4 games across the NFL. We're going to give you our best 4 picks. I have made my own picks. Did not discuss this with Ryan. Ryan made his own picks. He did not discuss this with me. You are welcome to take my picks, Ryan picks, or a combination of both, and win you some money.
We'll keep a running tally of our records too, so you can know through. Maybe if I'm trash through season, you'll be like, I ain't using Ryan picks.
Yeah, we just cut Ryan or me out of the segment.
Touche.
So Ryan, jump it off, man. Tell me who you got. What's your best 4 picks for this week?
My best 4 picks for this week. So my upset of the week, I'm taking the Colts plus 5.5 versus Kansas City. They're at home. I think they're desperate. They're 0-1-1. So I think they come out to play. I got them plus 5.5. They get Michael Pittman back. I got Philly covering minus 6.5 versus Washington. I really just think Philly's a really good team.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. I got Baltimore minus 3 versus New England. I just really don't believe in New England's offense. I know Bill Belichick's always going to kind of put up a nice defensive game plan. They always what they say. He wants to take away your dominant hand and make you play left-handed. But I just don't think Mac Jones can generate enough points to keep up with Lamar to cover the spread. And then I have the Chargers covering the minus 7 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's my 4 picks for the day. We'll see how that goes. Again, we'll take the running tally.
So who are those 4 again? Just the straight point spreads in?
So Colts plus 5.5, Philly minus 6.5, Baltimore minus 3, and the Chargers minus 7.
All right. And I'm going to go with my 4 picks. I have the Bears versus the Houston Texans. I have the Bears minus 3. They're going to be playing in Chicago. It's going to be wet and rainy on that day. Houston is actually 27th in the NFL in rushing. I think that this game bodes well for the type of game that the Bears like to play and quite frankly, they need to play in order to win football games. I think they'll lean heavy on Montgomery, and I think Fields will run the ball more. I think they'll be able to cover the 3 points at home. For my upset of the week, I like the Broncos against San Francisco straight up on the money line. You can take the point. I think the Broncos are actually getting 1.5 points at home. So if you don't feel comfortable taking them on the money line, take the points. But I like home dogs. I believe that Russell has played against this team, the San Francisco 49ers, for a number of years, and I think he's very familiar with him. Now, vice versa, they're very familiar with Russell as well, but I think this time Russell has more weapons around him. He has Gordon and Javonte Williams in the backfield. I think Sutton and Judy on the outside. So I think that they'll be able to make some plays on offense. So I got the Broncos straight up money line. I have the Eagles and the Commanders, the over 47.5. Right now, Washington is averaging 27 points a game. Eagles are averaging 31 points a game. Right now, Carson Wentz is throwing for 325 yards a game, and Jalen Hurts is throwing for 288 yards a game, as well as running for 75 yards a game. So I don't think that either one of these teams are going to be able to actually stop each other. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm not quite sure who's going to win. I really think that Philly's team is probably the better team of the two, but Carson Wentz is having him a heck of a season right now. So you never know as far as the points scored. But what I do know is they're gonna score a lot of points. So I'm going to take the over 47.5. And for my last pick, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chiefs. Unlike you, I'm going to take the Chiefs minus the 5.5 points. Good teams win, great teams cover. I think the Chiefs are a great team. 5.5 points given up to Indy on the road is a lot. But Indy also tied up with Houston, and they lost to Jacksonville. So I don't think that, Indy is a good team by any stretch. Maybe Matt Ryan, if he gets Michael Pittman back, can actually put up some points against this Chiefs defense. But I don't think they're going to be able to score enough points to keep up with the Chiefs. So I got the Chiefs minus 5.5. So my 4 picks are Bears minus 3, Chiefs minus 5.5, Broncos on the money line, Eagles, Commanders over 47.5, and I took the Cowboys 24-14 against the Giants on Monday. And we'll be able to check all these stats, all these picks, predictions, and we'll be able to hold each other accountable on SportzAttic. My goal is to never apologize on this show.
I love it. I hope you don't have to either, but you will. We're going to see.
I will. I'm not above it. I'm not above it.
We'll see.
I just don't be wrong that often.
Bruh.
I feel you. Well, I'm excited. We got a big time weekend. Looking forward to it. We're closing out. We'll obviously tap in with you with a reaction after the Monday night game. Enjoy y'all weekend. Be safe. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate the love. We signing out, Trey. You got something for the people?
Nah. How about them Cowboys? 1 + 1 = 3.
1 and 1 is 3.
I hope it equal 3, 4, and 5.
Let's get it.
So appreciate the love. We'll catch